Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to give you what I feel are the worst movies of 2019. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter and Instagram at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I will leave a link for that in the description. All right, 2019 is almost finished. So here are my top 10 of the worst of 2019. Now, like everybody else, we all like movies that are not inherently good. And I would say a couple of these on the list, I would say have small little guilty pleasures to them, but I still feel that they're kind of bad. And I understand that, these are movies that are made by people that put their heart and soul into it to a degree. But for some reason, they just don't work. And they just are like, I'll even say, I don't even flat out hate any of these except for my number one. And I really just hated that movie. But I think for the most part, it's not so much my disappointment list, and that's a separate one. And there's a little bit of crossover there. But these are just movies I feel are just really bad overall. So let's not waste any time. Keep in mind also that this is a very subjective list. This is my list of the worst movies of 2019. You have your own, and hey, if you're watching, you may even like a lot of these, and that's fine, that's great, I'm glad. It's just for me, they were not good, and you know what? I like a lot of trash too, so this is just for me personally what I didn't like about these movies in 2019. All right, my number 10 was my number 1 on my most disappointment list, and that is Glass. Well, and I'm going to give that on the worst list too, because while it was number 1 on my most disappointment, that was because I held that in such anticipation. For that particular year, it was like my number 2, right behind Avengers Endgame. So it had a lot going on for it. So that's why it was my number 1. But I still feel that while the movie is still it's made well in a lot of shots, except for that ending fight between Bruce Willis and James McAvoy, which is weirdly I don't know. But it was I still feel that there was some good filmmaking to that degree. But it still, ultimately is going to fall under my worst list because it just didn't stick the landing whatsoever. It tripped over the finish line, every metaphor you can think of, and I feel that just number 10 is Glass. My number 9 is going to be the 2019 Pet Sematary remake. This one, as much as I do like the original Pet Sematary, I felt that it always could have been improved upon. I didn't feel like it was a staple in American horror cinema. So I was really kind of interested in what they were going to bring to the table. And I want to say, I feel a lot of the things worked. Just the whole aspect of the Pet Sematary itself, it looked like it was filmed on a soundstage. It was very, you go from this obviously on location shot to oh, look, they're on the Warner Brothers lot or something. Come on. It just didn't work for me. I did like a couple things that they did with the mom's backstory. I'm glad they really further explored that. But the ghost that haunts our main character is pretty much a non-factor in this, and it was just completely wasted. It was very not an overall good movie. So that is my number 9. My number 8 is Men in Black International. This one, absolutely, I was just bored. It just was not interesting whatsoever. It looked like something I could have seen off the CW, and it was just not fun movie whatsoever. And it was just bad. It had a very forgettable plot. It's just not a good movie. I will say though that if you own the Blu Ray and the 4K, the audio mix rocks really well. It's a good demo disc. But that's all it has going for it. I wish Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson could have saved this one. They just couldn't. It just wasn't a fun movie, and it was very, very forgettable. And this is coming from the person that didn't like Men in Black 2 that much. I think Men in Black 2 is way better than this. So this goes to show you, Men in Black International just didn't rank very high on my list. My number 7 is going to be Terminator Dark Fate. Talk about build up for nothing. It was unnecessary changes. They were really catering to a certain crowd, and it wasn't the Terminator crowd. They were really trying to attach that James Cameron's back thing and Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool. And ultimately, we just got a nonsensical piece of another Terminator sequel that really meant nothing, and it changed things that didn't need to be changed, or they could have gone so many different ways. I even mentioned on my this was also on my disappointment video, that they could have used John Connor as the bridge. They could have used John Connor as what Sarah Connor ultimately ended up being. You didn't need Sarah Connor. It was put in there purely for nostalgic sake. If you really wanted to do something new, you could have had John Connor as their version of the Guardian. You know, like, even though his future was changed and Skynet's no more, he could have been like the one to help out the new hero. It ultimately, like, there was such a wasted opportunity here. I didn't really like it at all, and it was just, it had fun demo moments, like for your home theater kind of thing, but ultimately it just wasn't a good film. My number 6 is going to be a movie called Night Hunter, and that starred Henry Cavill and Ben Kingsley. It's a detective story. It was straight to Blu Ray release, but it just really was not interesting. Like, it had some good moments, but I think they just completely wasted Cavill and Kingsley. Kingsley almost felt like they had him for 2 days on the set. Let's see what we can do with him. Oh, we don't have a script. All right, just, do something here. That's kind of how it felt like. It was just really wasn't a good film overall. And, I like to give straight to Blu-ray movies a chance because sometimes it pays off. A lot of times it doesn't. But this one ultimately just wasn't interesting, engaging. It was actually very predictable and kind of boring. So, unfortunately, Night Hunter is going to be on my list. My number 5 is going to be Hellboy. Yeah, I could do a video on this one and how it's just, we all know Guillermo del Toro's unfinished trilogy and so forth and so on. It wasn't a good movie. The CGI was horribly bad, like early video game bad. The story wasn't interesting whatsoever. David Harbour was good. I liked him as Red, but it wasn't a well put together film. It felt like two films kind of mashed together in a way. And they just, Ian McShane being Ian McShane, I think him almost being at the point where oversaturation, because John Wick, he was just featured in that, so you're kind of like thinking that in the back of your head. I just didn't like the movie. I really wish they would have finished Del Toro's trilogy, give them as much time as they needed, but no, they were in a big hurry, and just really wasn't a good film overall. My number 4, all right, my number 4 is going to be 47 Meters Down, Uncaged. Ugh. This one, oh jeez. I know I said I really only hated like my number 1, but I kind of hate this one too in a way. You had me, I would say, your main characters are annoying, okay? You kind of like take away the one character who you suspect was going to die, who was kind of like, okay, you could latch on to. But then like they get rid of that character midway through and you're left with just not likable characters. I liked the premise of this group of sharks that were in these Aztec ruins that were flooded. I liked that. I liked the premise. But then you really just completely stretch the believability towards the end. The last act with, I don't want to say exactly what it is, but look, you kind of play around with reality a little bit here, but you're really kind of just earning the eye roll at the end. It was really bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like the characters. I wish they all would have gotten eaten. And I probably would have made this my movie of the year if that were the case. But no, what we got, the original is not exactly a prize either, but it was fun. It was a fun movie. I got behind it. But when you have the same director doing this one, it just, I had to ask why. Like, why? Like, your casting was terrible. Anyway, I just didn't like the movie, and it was just really kind of bad overall. My number 3 is going to be a Netflix movie, and I really should have put this one on my disappointment list because the cast involved is a good cast, and I really like them. But that's Amy Poehler in the Netflix movie Wine Country. I love Amy Poehler. Parks and Rec is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and there's a good cast with her in this. But and I know it kind of at the end of the day, it's not exactly a movie that was made for me, if you were to call it that. But I expected more from these ladies because I know how funny they can be. I know there's a good, I'm a fan of California Wine Country, and why, like, it was not funny. It was not like they were trying to go for a kind of a serious tone, but then play with the humor, but nothing worked. And it was just really bad. I wish I would have liked this one. Once again, this should have been on my disappointment list, but it's just, I think at the ultimately just kind of fell in the bad list. So yeah, unfortunately, Wine Country is going to be my number 3. My number 2 is another one, direct to Blu-ray, The Final Wish. This was purely a case of me blind buying this based off the cover art. I read the back and it sounded interesting, like a take on The Monkey's Paw. And I would say the atmosphere was good. I would say it was a good setup, but it sucks. Like, it just does. And I love that kind of thing. I love a good horror film that's not like the same recycled stuff we get all the time. It was just boring. The characters were not interesting. There was some bad acting. It really looked like the main actress, I'm not talking about Lin Shaye, but I'm talking about the main actress with the protagonist. She looked like she just started acting yesterday. It was that bad. It was a terrible script. Just a horrible movie all around. And I really was disappointed by this one as well. I expected more, but we got just ultimately just a bad film. My number one worst movie of 2019 is going to be Lucy in the Sky. I hate this movie. I hated this movie. It just was nonsensical. You're going for like a Ad Astra, interstellar kind of introspective cosmic awareness type film, and you turn it into a drama about a cheating wife. What? This felt like two movies, two scripts, just horribly joined. And the direction, oh my God, I can't believe they gave this guy the Star Trek franchise. I'm wondering about this. This movie is terrible. Like, from a filmmaking standpoint, to a script, to an acting. Look, we all know Natalie Portman can act. We've seen her in good stuff. But what? Seriously, this movie was terrible. I almost walked out. It was getting to the point where they were playing an actual opera, via like Fandango events next door. I almost went over to that. That's how bad this movie was. I felt like I would have had a better time over there. But this is just a terrible film. The constant shifting of the aspect ratios, I saw a couple leave because it was getting too much. Look, if there was a narrative or a reason behind it, but they don't ever do that. So it's like, if you're thinking, oh, it's because it's done from this perspective or it's done from that perspective, and they're shifting it based on that, they don't do that. It's just random. And it's horrible. It's a bad movie. It is absolutely the worst of 2019. And it's just not a good film. So let me know in the comments below, what are your worst movies of 2019? And please just, keep it like this. We're all having fun here. So keep it kind of cool down in the comments section. And remember, these are all subjective lists. So we all have our worst. We all have our best. So look forward to my best of video coming tomorrow. Let me know in the comments below what you thought was the worst of 2019. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.